It is laughable to me that Leslie Headland and Kathleen Kennedy actually thought that their show, The Acolyte, was good enough to have 3 seasons and a movie to boot. We are Fandom Fix, and we are back, friends. My name is Ty. That's Roman. That's Jonathan. That's Austin. And today we get to crap on the Acolyte just a little bit longer, which is one of my favorite things to do. So recently we got news in an interview by our man Manny Jacinto, aka the Sith Lord,
the stranger.
The stranger, the love interest of our Acolyte. He mentioned in his interview that there was plans for 3 seasons of The Acolyte and a movie. I wanted to take a quick moment and ask your opinions of what in the world were we going to get in seasons 2, 3, and a movie, and how in the world did they actually think with their political agendas and their just completely destroying of Star Wars lore that they thought that the people that actually like Star Wars would even want this pile of garbage.
I think their hubris is here. And I honestly think that we've seen time and time again with those interviews during that show, all the things we crapped on already, that they were so blinded by them thinking that their own agendas and putting their own life experiences into this story was going to sell instead of actually telling the story of Star Wars. And what we saw was majority of the fandom reject this. Honestly, I think it's damage control after Disney already admitted that the reason they canceled it was because the numbers weren't there and they lost so much money off of this show. And nobody in their right mind from a business perspective is going to continue to pump money into a show that is doing terrible and it costs them more money than it's worth. This show costs more money than like 3 of the shows put together, which makes absolutely no sense. And I've said it before, Obi-Wan Kenobi should have received the most money out of any of the show because he's freaking a legacy character. It doesn't make any sense. But if they were going to make another show, the way they set this season up at the end with bringing Darth Plagueis into it, they would have continued to crap on that entire lore. They probably would have totally rejected everything the prequels set up and everything with Palpatine. And I think it honestly would have just been complete abomination of that. I mean, I don't know how you could have got 3 seasons more of this story that really had no plot to begin with. Because we already learned who the Acolyte was. We already learned who the secret Sith was. And at the end, they were like, oh, we're going to join hands together and we're going to go fight. Well, who fight who? Because the Jedi pretty much all lied to themselves and was already not really doing anything. And we got the Yoda tease at the end. But it would have continued to make Yoda look like a bad Jedi. It would have made Darth Plagueis look like a character that's a backstory to another character when he's really the big bad of everything. And it would have continued to change the lore like we saw with like the space witches and all that stupid nonsense. So I don't know how they would have got that. Honestly, if they would have made more, that would have literally lost them more money that Lucasfilm honestly might have gone under.
I will tell you exactly what they would have done in season 2. You already kind of mentioned it. And I can also bring in why Obi-Wan Kenobi did not get the highest budget of all the shows. And it's because Disney, and more specifically, the creators of Acolyte, Leslie Headland, and by extension, the producer, Kathleen Kennedy, have made it their mission since Disney took over Star Wars to crap on and destroy any and all legacy characters. We saw what Last Jedi did to Luke Skywalker. We saw that Force Awakens did to Han Solo, made him a deadbeat dad and then threw him off a ledge. Now, that's the same reason why Obi-Wan Kenobi did not get the higher budget, because they have made it their mission to destroy any and all legacy characters, change what the idea and identity of Star Wars is. So it's good that show died. I think they're just playing sympathy points. Oh, woe is us. We didn't get to finish our story. That's why it's bad. No, it's bad because it's bad. There's too many people in writers' rooms that use ChatGPT to write entire scripts and then don't do damage control when the computer that knows nothing about Star Wars spits out these pages. They weren't listening to the majority of Star Wars fans. They were like, this is what we want to do. Everybody else be darned. So mercifully, the Acolyte, or the Crapolyte, is dead.
Jonathan, I know you have not seen this movie, and you frankly just haven't been a huge Star Wars fan or really followed it, really, other than the 6 original movies that everybody loves. So what are your thoughts on this, considering that you haven't seen a whole lot? Why do you think people rejected this show? Why do you think, someone like you hasn't even really cared to take the time?
Yeah, the original, obviously, Star Wars, everyone can be a fan of those. Those are amazing. And even, the movies that they were doing, you wouldn't say weren't bad. Obviously, they were doing well in the box office. But as you guys have kind of talked about before, there's oversaturation. And to someone who's not a huge Star Wars fan, it's a little daunting looking, pulling up Disney Plus and seeing a new show every couple of weeks. And you're thinking, man, how are they pumping out so many shows? They can't all be good. And then sure enough, you go on YouTube, you look at, people talking about these shows, and most of them are saying these shows are terrible. So why would I want to jump in and start a new show that, one, I don't have a ton of draw to, and two, the people who do have a ton of draw to Star Wars are talking poorly about. So that's kind of my perspective. And, maybe I'll give it a watch in the future and have a different opinion. But for now, from the outside point of view, it doesn't seem like something that I want to jump headfirst into.
That's a great point, Jonathan. And I think the problem with Disney is they've lost a lot of their core fan base, like the true fans of Star Wars that we grew up watching Star Wars, and it was like part of our childhood. And when they're destroying characters that some of people I know like idolize, like they look at Luke Skywalker like he's a hero to them. They saw him as this incorruptible character. And then to see what Disney has kind of done to him in the sequels, it's really disappointing. What it all boils down to is Disney saw money signs. That's why they took Lucasfilm and ran with it. They said, we can make a lot of money with this. And they have made a lot of money. They made tons of money with the sequels. They're making tons of money in Star Wars land in Orlando. They're going to continue to put out subpar stuff, but hopefully this changes. Hopefully Favreau and Filoni kind of right the ship here. But let us know in the comments what you think. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Do you think we're full of crap? Do you think that Disney's full of crap? Stick with us. Stick with Fandom Fix. We're going to be around a lot in 2025. So stay tuned. Thanks, everyone.